just make a quick stream. I've been talking to a few people about stocks today. Some people have been investing in stocks for about like 15 years, 20 years. Um, I shared with you guys there was this one person that I used to work with, and they told me that they had invested into Facebook a really long time ago. And it was super cheap, and they made a small investment. And I think they got Facebook for, I forgot what they got it for, but it was a super cheap price. They ended up making $20,000 from it, and they were holding long. Now, um, one of the reasons why I'm like hyper focused on my stock portfolio, and you guys probably are thinking like, why is she always flooding us with stocks? You know, what is her deal with this kind of stuff? Okay, um, is because I want to have a stock portfolio where I feel like I could leave it for a long time and it would be okay. Some people who have been investing in stocks for a really long time, they were able to get stocks for a really cheap price. For instance, before back in the day, right? Apple used to be like $13. I think Microsoft used to be like $20 or so. I remember hearing about that too. I remember hearing like back in like 2000s or so, people talking about like Microsoft or some tech company being $20, and I thought, wow, that's really cheap. That is super cheap. And yeah, back around that time, I think I was about like 10 years old, and 10, 12 years old. So of course, I didn't have my own stock account or anything like that, but um it didn't really wrap into my brain like how what an opportunity that was. And there were so many stocks back then that were super cheap. Amazon was super cheap back then. And now Amazon, I think, yeah, I know Amazon was like $20 at one point. Now Amazon's like $3,100. So whoever had been an early investor of Amazon, if you pick your cards right, right, you could end up being a millionaire. And there have been a lot of people who become a millionaire thanks to Tesla. So anyway, I wanted to share this with you guys because I was talking to someone, and they had told me, the importance about holding long. And one of the things that they told me is this: they say, Erica, you got to invest in stocks that you believe long term in, and you feel like it has a lot of room to grow. So you leave it behind. You have to like check on it every single freaking day. Some people only check their stocks once a year, from what I've been told, and they just have like full confidence that their stocks will go up. And some of these stocks include like Amazon, right? Amazon is just, you look at it, it just grows bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, when I got into the stock market, I think Amazon was like 1,400, 1,300 something dollars or so. But, it's like that was freaking pricey. And I remember thinking to myself, like, frick, this is like a big chunk of change. Like, gosh. But now Amazon is like $3,100. And to be honest with you guys, I know you guys can buy fractional shares, but it's kind of scary because I think to myself, like, for frick's sake, what's Amazon gonna be at the end of this year? What's it going to be in 2 years? There's a very, very real possibility it's going to hit $4,000 sooner than we think. And I really hope they do a split share. I feel like if they do a split share, maybe if they split it 5 ways, people will be more likely to invest because they're going to say, hey, instead of it being $3,000, it's $600. I'm going to buy a share of Amazon because now I can afford it. I don't like the idea of fractional shares. Maybe it's just because I'm just kind of like, I want to own one whole thing, or I just think about one whole thing. It's easier for me to think about like, do I think that this could double in value? See it that way rather than think like, oh, if I put in like $20, like what's the chances of it? You get what I'm saying? Like, that's why I always think about full values. Like the Bitcoin thing, I'm fully aware you can buy this stuff in fractional, but I always think like, okay, if Bitcoin is 39K, and as you guys said, I told you guys it was gonna hit a 40K. I wrote in my community post, I said I think it's gonna hit like between 30 to 33K, and I think it's gonna go back to 40K. Right now it's 39K. I'm not gonna be surprised if it hit back 40K. But Bitcoin's volatility, that was something I don't want to play around with. So I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want to wake up one day and say like, frick, the Bitcoin went down 10% or 15%, because it's kind of like ping pong, right? So anyway, point being is that if you buy a stock and it just goes up in value, depending on how much money you have, it can it can really a person can live comfortably off of that, depending on the percentages. So for instance, right, some people, if they have a stock portfolio that is, let's say, $300,000, and it's in a stock or like an ETF that they firmly believe in, $300,000, 10%, 10% would be $30,000, and then 1% would be $3,000, right? So every time that stock or that portfolio goes up 1%, then they get $3,000. And I think that's the reason why it's like you hear about people, they go all in on these certain stocks and they're like, I'm gonna put in like 100 or $200,000 on a stock, and then it goes up 1%, and they're like, I make big bucks today, because it's all about the volume thing. If you play around, if you play around, let's say you want day trade with, let's say, $100, and it goes up 1%, it's just gonna go up $1. If you do it with like $1,000, and it's gonna go up $10. You see what I'm saying? $10,000, it goes up $100. Yeah, $10,000, then it'll go up $100 if it's 1%. So yeah, so it's really really beneficial to have like a lot of money in the stock market or try to amass it. And for me, it's like I've just was like looking at my portfolio, and I was like, for frick's sake, I feel like it's kind of stagnant, and I want to figure out like a way. And I've been like reevaluating things, and I've been kind of shuffling things around, and I just want to make sure that my portfolio, I feel comfortable just like leaving it alone. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm comfortable with a lot of these stocks now. Um, it's like but yeah, if you have like a lot of money and you're willing to put it in the stock market, I would say that invest it in like an ETF, because it would just you don't really have that much risk. If you invest, let's say, a lot of money into one stock, and then it just goes bottoms up, that kind of stuff, you're kind of screwed. Another stock that I was kind of made aware of, that a stock that kind of like completely blindsided me, was this. You guys remember, like, back in the day, people used to wear Crocs? Remember that? I remember that. I remember I had a conversation with someone, and they had told me, they said, oh, Erica, oh, yeah, I'm working on my project. This was many, many years ago, okay? And they told me, they said that they bought Crocs. And I thought to myself, like, why the hell would you buy Crocs? Like, geez, like Crocs? That's like some ugly shoe. And they're like, oh, it's pretty popular, Erica, so I bought Crocs. And I was like, oh, people make fun of Crocs. So I was giving them shit over it, and telling them like, yeah, I don't understand the appeal of Crocs. Outside, like, Crocs are amazing shoes. They're very comfortable, but people make fun of them. So if you want to use them as a house slipper, they're very good. They're indestructible. They will last you many years. Like, not like those bedroom slippers that fall apart after a while. You guys know what I'm talking about. But for Crocs, because they're made out of one big chunk of foam, the namesake one. I don't know what you call them, but it's like the clog looking ones. What I failed to realize was that those Crocs actually became a hot item because of the situation, what's going on in the world. It's popular because it's easy to disinfect. If you want to disinfect that clog, all you have to do is just like spray some alcohol on it, wipe it down with a paper towel, Lysol it. It's so much easier to clean up than, let's say, like a shoe. So sales of Crocs have gone up tremendously, and that $7 stock, it's now $77. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the? I was so sure that Crocs went under, because I was looking at Fitbit out today, and I was like, who the hell buys Fitbit? Fitbit recently got acquired by Google, but yeah, it's really surprising. So for that person who did invest in Crocs back when it was $7, they must be very happy to know that their $7 investment turned into $77. That's like Tesla numbers right there, right? And yeah, it's like 10 times more. So um, let me pull this up. Yeah, so it's crazy on how much Crocs have run up, and of course I don't keep track of a lot of the stocks that like all the stocks. I only keep track of really like the big name stocks or stocks I already have in my portfolio, and yeah, just genuinely surprising. Also, in case you guys didn't see my community post, BlackBerry the stock, not BlackBerry the cat, BlackBerry the stock has gone up 40% today. And I saw it while it was going up because I had BlackBerry in my portfolio. And I thought to myself, like, holy crap, why the hell is a BlackBerry? And then I realized that on Reddit, there's this thing called Wall Street Bets, and they were pushing up BlackBerry. And I knew about the effect of Wall Street Bets. So all of a sudden, I was like, frick, the money I wanted to put into Tesla, you know what? Frick it, let me throw it into BlackBerry. So I threw it into BlackBerry, and I have zero regrets about that. And I know people would say, I'm chasing the money, that kind of thing, but I can always just, it's like one of those things. Like I think Blackberries are really good stock, but they just don't get that much recognition because everybody is just so used to thinking about the BlackBerry phones of like 2000. They're coming out with a new phone, from what I've been hearing, but I don't know how many people are going to be hyped up about that. Just being honest here, but there's hype about BlackBerry since they are working with navigation systems, if I remember correctly, for a certain company. I can't remember the name; it slips my mind. But yeah, so now there's just reinvigorated push towards BlackBerry, and I'm curious to see how that stock will be. The way the the economy is, the way that people are, I really believe that there's going to be more of a push to people going into stocks because people are going to think, hey, you know what? If they have some money lying around, they want to have it grow. And they're going to think, okay, well, what can I do? I can invest it into an ETF and watch my money grow while I, wait for a job or, while I'm trying to grow my savings. And it's one of those things like I really wish I had it drilled into my head when I was in high school. Like, invest into stocks, Erica. Think about it. Look into making your money grow. Don't just think about um, just an hourly pay, because one thing that I've realized is like there's so many people who want a job right now, especially now it's super competitive. And the problem with the job is that although it is a stable income in terms of, you get your hourly pay, you don't know when you're going to get canned. You don't know if there's going to be, the business is going to close, and you don't know how you don't know how to say it. You don't know if you're going to get a job if you apply to a higher paying job or if you can get a job raise, because I know there's some places that I've heard from friends. It's like they tell me that even before the situation, there was hiring freezes. So they had they refused to give pay raises for 3 years, and these were big companies. And even though they said explicitly, we're not going to be giving any pay raises for 3 years, people still took the job because, well, they needed a job. And it gives like power to the employers, and the employers are like, hey, you know what, we're going to give you a job, we're not going to pay you very well, but you know what, you want more pay, good luck getting it. That was one of the reasons why people left Hawaii, because the job market overall kind of sucked. Most of my friends are no longer living in Hawaii because it's just like you kind of, how would I say, a lot of people that I knew from who were living in Hawaii were making like around $40,000 or less, and it's kind of like, okay, if you make $17 an hour, that's already considered pretty good. $19 is pretty damn good. um yeah, like around 40,000, like between 35,000 and 45,000, like generally, unless they're like a professional. So with the situation and a lot of businesses closing, I just kind of think like, yeah, you're gonna have a lot more people competing for jobs. And it just and this is like, again, this is just my thoughts, but I just see, if people have savings and they save their money, they are able to grow their money and hopefully retire earlier, and they don't have to think about if they have like some terrible boss or something like that. I've always been a very big very, very big advocate about saving money. And this is one of the reasons why I'm big on the idea of saving. I'm also big on the idea of investing. And yeah, um, yeah. So, if you guys haven't already invested in like a stock portfolio or something like that or an ETF, I highly, highly suggest investing. It doesn't even have to be too much. You know, it can be like $10, $20. Just invest over time. If you want to be safe, my recommendation would be investing in an ETF. I really like ARKK or ARKW. But if you don't want that, then you can go with something safer. You can go with like a one of those like other investment funds, kind of like, or invest in like Vanguard or T Rowe or something like that. But yeah, that's my thing. I've been encouraging people lately to invest, and I think that right now, if you do invest your money, it can be pretty lucrative. And if it's not lucrative now, just hold and wait till the future, and then see you'll eventually start seeing things grow. I told you guys, like, I invested in JD. JD dropped 50%, and I bought it at 47. It dropped down to like 19 or 20, and I freaked out. But thankfully, I had Amazon countering it, and that was my whole intention with my portfolio. I thought if JD dropped, maybe Amazon would double, and it would just kind of balance each other out. And that scenario happened. JD ended up, tanking my portfolio for a really long time, for about 2 years, and I just believed in it so much, so pig-headedly. I should have sold it, but I was so pig-headed about it. I was like, I'm gonna hold JD until it goes back up, and now it's at, I think, 88, $89. It has this fucking resistance between 88 and $93, or it goes up to 95 and it goes back to 88. It just pisses me off, but anyway, point being is that if you feel strongly about a stock, you should feel comfortable holding with it. And for me, I felt really comfortable with JD. I feel really comfortable with Amazon, and I think that investing in stocks is a wise thing to do. Again, if you don't feel comfortable doing with one company, just invest in an ETF, and your risk is substantially less, because like an ARK ETF, I think ARKW has 55 holdings in it. So if one company goes down, let's say PayPal goes down like 5% that day, it's not going to tank the ETF's price tremendously, because it's just one out of 55 companies. And I know that PayPal is like I think Tesla's the strongest holding at 10%, but I might be remembering it wrong. I think it was 10% for ARKW. But yeah, it can grow, and you don't have to subject yourself to that risk. And I highly doubt 55 companies will go bankrupt. I don't know too much about the longevity about the ARK fund, to be honest with you guys. So I don't know what happens if like an ETF decides to dissolve, or if one of the companies, I don't know about that. You guys would have to research that. But for me right now, I feel comfortable investing in ARK. ARK is a really popular ETF right now. I was looking at the charts. I'm happy with it. I think that I focus more on the gains, and I also kind of think about what are other people investing into, because if a company doesn't have that much interest in it, then the stock's not going to move much. Um, and it's really important to have people, like more people interested in the stock, because if it's like a no-name stock, and I kind of wonder, like, is it just gonna, like, if it goes down, is anyone gonna salvage it back up? Do I do dividend stocks? I do dividend stocks. I do. But keep in mind that if you do dividend stocks, technically it kind of like suppresses a lot of the gains. So for instance, right? If you invest in something like Walmart has a dividend, or Visa has a dividend, you compare those stocks to like stocks that don't have dividends, it the stocks with dividends tend to be lower than the stocks with dividends, because they have to pay out every quarter or once a year out to investors. So I do have dividend stocks, but I don't keep them. I don't expect them to have too much growth. It's like a safe thing. I think Walmart had 20% growth in the last year, but I could be remembering it wrong. I know Visa's pretty pitiful right now. Visa's pitiful. I saw Visa. I've just been seeing Visa go down and down and down. But a lot of people, they believe that like some of the stocks that you can hold on to forever, like Visa, Disney. I think Walmart's on that list, but I definitely remember Disney and Visa being on that list. Yeah, always have money set aside if possible in case the stock market drops, and then you can just throw money in there. So, but if you're all in on a stock and you don't have any more money to give, then and you plan to hold, that's completely fine as well. Oh yeah, people have been telling me about AT&T and T and that being a dividend stock. I've never been interested in AT&T. Maybe it's because it's a cell phone provider, so I was like, well, I don't know how I feel about that. There's just so many cell phone providers, you know. There's T-Mobile, there's Verizon. I don't know who's the number one for cell phones, but whatever company I invest in, I like it to be like number one or close to number one. So Amazon is kind of unparalleled. I used to invest in Alibaba, I let it go. So now I'm only invested in JD. But when I thought about it, I thought like, what has more room to double? Alibaba or JD? And I chose JD. So, yeah. So, for the people who invested in stocks for like the last 15 years and they have like these, they invested, let's say, like $1,000 into a stock, and then now the stock price is like tripled or quadrupled or 10 times more multiplied, that kind of stuff. I think it's really incredible. And one of the things that when I look at the stock prices on this stuff, I'm like, frick, I can't imagine like Amazon growing like that much. Like some people believe Amazon could get to a $10,000 stock. That would be around what, 2.5 times more than it is now, or three times, yeah, three times more than it is now or so. I just can't. I hope Amazon does a split because it's gonna be insane. Like, who the hell wants to invest in like a full share of Amazon if it's like $10,000 a share? I think I really hope that when earnings come out, that they announce doing a split, because if they do a split, more people are gonna be buying Amazon. So yeah, yeah. If Elon comes out with anything, people would flood over to Elon. No, 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 no. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine, Emily. Chinese government, they have things where like we don't know where the hell Jack Ma is still, um, and it's like if you talk out of line, the Chinese government will punish you. Fan Bingbing, you guys can look that up. She's an actress, and she went AWOL for I think 4 months on house arrest, even though she was like the most popular actress in the world, because of tax evasion reasons. So the Chinese government has no problem putting people in their place, even if they're very famous or they're a billionaire. So that is a sincere concern. It's not like here in the U.S. If you're famous, then sometimes like the law looks the other side, or you can kind of weasel your right way out with lawyers or get like a pat on the wrist sort of thing. Chinese government doesn't play at all. So knowing what I see about the Chinese government, what I hear about the Chinese government, I I think that when I think about like the Baba stuff, like Baba's gone up since I sold Baba, and people could say, well, Erica, how come you didn't keep your Baba? It's like, frick, I worry too much about Chinese stocks. For Baba, especially because at that time when it dropped, that was only a 10. I was like 11% profit margin, so I thought like I'm just gonna sell it, and I don't want to deal with like if Jack Ma disappears, or he it comes out that he had a heart attack or something like that, or got delisted. I didn't want to deal with that, so it's one of, and that's why I think it's very important to kind of look at your stocks every so often and see where things are going, because if you don't monitor certain things with like news, or kind of look at how the chart is going, maybe the company goes into you know, the crapper, and you could have kind of done something about it. AMD went down. Nvidia, Nvidia has a partnership with Neo, if I remember correctly, and then Intel, they just got rid of their CEO, so that stock surged up in anticipation. But oh, thank you, invest in greenies. Yeah, Oreo is sleeping right now, but thank you. I will. Oreo will definitely invest in some greenies when he opens up his eyes. It's as if they don't know. There's always going to be new stuff. They can easily say, well, we've been holding off on things because of the impact about the situation impacting manufacturing, right? But whatever they make, it's just delayed. I know it doesn't. It's not a really bad thing. I've heard about that. They say that when you invest in Chinese companies, allegedly you invest in something in the Cayman Islands or something like that. Um, but Neo's going up, and then of course Tesla's going up. Between Neo and Tesla, I'm kind of curious to see what happens to Neo. So right now I have like a small profit on Neo, and then I'm just monitoring it. But if Neo goes down, I'm just gonna sell it. I'm gonna say F it. I'm gonna sell it because I feel the most comfortable in a American company rather than a Chinese company. But if because I was hearing so much hype about it, and because I thought, okay, well, if people are gonna push this thing up, I want to have a piece of that thing too. I don't, I don't, I have doubts about Neo being really like a long-term player. I think Tesla has definitely more chance of being a very, very, very long player compared to Neo, but Tesla has a lot of competition. I heard that GM was a GM. They recently came out with some kind of air vehicle or so. All these companies are coming out. Alibaba is going to EV. Um, GM, like I said. What else? Mercedes. I think Mercedes has EVs too. Apple Car. Amazon's doing something electric vehicle. They have some partnership with some company as well. It's like, oh, so there's a lot of uncertainty because if everybody seems like they're going down the EV side, right? How how does that affect Tesla stock? Also, Lucid Automobiles they recently came out with they're coming out with something I think in spring 2021, and then they have a alleged merger with I think CCIV. You might want to, yeah, CCIV. I forgot capital something. I remember the stock name though because I was looking it up. So some people think like, oh, the Lucid Automobiles is gonna merge with CCIV, and then the stock price of CCIV should go up. But I'm like, for frick's like everybody's getting into the automobile business. And then from what I was reading, people think Lucid will really give Tesla a run for its money, but I don't know too much about that stuff, so I can't really say, and it's speculative. Will people really go after CCIV if they do kind of merge or partner with Lucid? I don't know. I don't know. So it's all like there's just so much things going around that I personally feel kind of comfortable just staying away from Tesla right now because until things kind of like calm down, I'm not taking out my money from Tesla, that's for sure, but it's just like I don't feel comfortable investing more because I don't know, what goes on from here. And if Tesla drops down 20%, I won't mind because I have like a 300% profit margin right now in Tesla. But because I invested like one share into Tesla recently. But yeah, I do this whole dollar cost averaging thing, and it seems like the day after I invested into Tesla, it's like the day Tesla stock started dropping down. It's like, oh, Erica, what beautiful timing you have. So, oh, it's kind of like I wish I could turn back time and invest back when all these stocks are super cheap, but by the time things come onto my radar, they're substantially more expensive. And part of it is because I got into the stock market kind of late compared to other investors. Yeah, everybody's getting to that kind of stuff. But I think the question is that who's going to be the most successful? Tesla has, I think they said they have like the least automobile accidents or something like that for EV, something like that. I might be remembering wrong, but something like that came out today. So everybody is going EV, and it's not just investing in the cars. I think people are investing into what they believe to be the innovators of technology, and because of what happened with Tesla, the price went up like 1,100%. All these people are trying to chase other stocks to see if they can also ride up. I think it's very dangerous though, because if people are juggling in a lot of money or doing options on these kind of companies, it can bust. Oh, Palantir Technologies. Yeah, I've heard about that. PLTR or something there, or PLR. Yeah, I've been hearing about that. There's a lot of there's a lot of hype about that stuff. I don't know. I don't have that much. I don't like investing too much in pharma. My investing in pharma for me hasn't been very well. For whatever reason, it's always been kind of a bust. And yeah, I don't want to be holding the bag, so I choose not to really invest in pharma. But yeah, I want to have a portfolio that I just feel comfortable leaving it as is. Um, I know the really easy thing to do would just be, okay, just do ETFs. That's it. But yeah, I look at my portfolio and like, I don't want to let go of Amazon, and I don't want to let go of JD because I see the chart and I don't really feel like I have a reason to. But yeah, I'm just waiting for like the 27th. I think 27th, 28th is Tesla. I think it's Tesla and Amazon. And there's another company too, but I can't remember which one it is. But just so much earnings coming up, like within the next 2 weeks, and I'm just like holding my breath because I've been waiting for Amazon to move. I'm like, come on, move, move, move. One day I'll move though. One day I'll move. Yeah. So, I've just been really crummy today. I've been really crummy today. Um, the monthly time, so my back is absolutely killing me. So if I sound like I'm really tired, it's because I've just been in back pain all freaking day. And my back is just, oh, so painful. It sucks. It sucks being a female. Um, I wish I could be like Oreo and just sleep all day and not have to move, but life is not like that. Yeah, I have like terrible, terrible back pain whenever I have my time of the month. It's just so draining. It's killer. So I'm supposed to take spirulina too to help out with that, but I keep forgetting taking that damn spirulina. My bad, my bad. Um, yeah, so I'm curious, like I said, I'm curious to see what happens to my portfolio in about 10 years or so. I think that there are going to be more investors going on board moving forward. And I think that as long as people hold, or as long as people hold, and as long as these companies innovate or continue innovating, they're going to be strong for the next 10 years. So stock price in the next 10 years, oh god, that would be absolutely insane to think about. Yeah, I hope there's like a lot of splits going on, because if there's not splits, oh, that stock price would be real ugly, real ugly. So I don't Apple did a split, Tesla did a split. Just waiting for Amazon to do a split. Just waiting for it, and when they do a split, I will be super happy about that split. The price has to go down. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Again, I know I sound really tired in this stream. It's because I'm just, yeah, my back is just not too happy today. I haven't been happy for the last two days. But hopefully things get a little better sooner. And I really do feel that it's important to just save money, invest it, because as much as I should say I think it's important to buy things and buy Apple items or buy stuff on Amazon, truly it's better to be an investor than a consumer. And I it saying things like that is not good for the stock price. But if you do have to buy something, make sure you get the best price for it, and make your money stretch. I'm a big fan. You guys know I'm a big fan of just keeping things low cost. Try not to spend too much money. Save money. Work on making money grow. And yeah, I really do believe like in the future this will really pay off even more. But I just need to be patient and just like do nothing with my portfolio and just watch it grow. I just feel this I just feel like this like it's like I feel like it's like a pivotal time, and I want to make sure I have my portfolio kind of moving around and gaining money. And I think the other thing that's kind of keeping me on edge is because I made a lot of new purchases. I'm looking at like the dollar cost average, and when I see that kind of the percentage, I'm like, frick, I don't have that much of a buffer right now. So I want it to move more, because if it moves more, then I feel more comfortable if it sinks down a little or not. So Mara is a good example of that. I think Mara went up 6% today. I'm still in the negative, I think 10%, but I might be remembering it wrong. So until Mara goes up like a 20% buffer, 10 to 20% buffer, I'm not gonna really be too too comfortable with Mara, because I'll be like, frick, I don't want to be losing money. I'd rather be gaining money at a slower rate than losing money completely. Get what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm invested sideways, like on Bitcoin, or crypto going up in the future. Not too much, but it's one of those like things where I feel like, yeah, this stuff can go up, and if it does come up, I do want to have a small little piece in it. But if it goes down, I'm not gonna cry too much, because that was a risk that I had to take. And that goes with any stock. Do your research when you do stocks, of course. I've had, I think, 1 or 2 stocks go under on me, and that's because I was chasing something. So I never bought the stock because I believe strongly in it, but rather, I was kind of curious about it, and I was following it, and there was a lot of volatility, and then it just bankrupted. And sometimes you have that with like high dividend stocks. If you have a stock with a high dividend and they try to get investors in, and then it pays out too much and it's unsustainable, then the stock price drops, or they just kind of go under. Oh, yeah, I've been reading about stocks and investing for the last week. Yeah, it's like I wake up, think about my portfolio, look more into stocks, research it, and yeah, like hyper focus on this kind of stuff. I feel like I don't want to say this, it sounds weird for me to say, but I feel like I'm kind of like atoning for my how lackadaisical I was before. And now I'm like, frick, how come I didn't know about all these little stocks shooting? I wasn't paying attention. I feel about positive about my investments, but my thinking about my portfolio is I want it to grow. I want it to be one of those things where it can grow and I just don't have to think about it. I know several people who've been investing for about 20 years, and they're comfortable because of their portfolio. They said that they invested a good chunk of money back when they were younger. Of course, these were back when the stocks were a lot cheaper. um, and they just wrote it. They did nothing for it. They believed in these stocks. And I would like to follow on the same path for me, and come in, let's say 5, 10 years. What will my stock portfolio be? I don't know, but I hope that my stock portfolio is in a really good place, and I can, when I look at it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is good. What is a stock that I feel is undervalued? JD, I feel is very undervalued. Tesla, hard to say. Tesla say that people say Tesla's overvalued. Elon Musk has said it's overvalued as well. But if you believe in the hype and you believe that, sometimes I think stocks go stray away from fundamentals because of hype, and then you can't forecast it. So GameStop is a good one of that. I think it's GME. GameStop got pushed out by Wall Street bets. I think the last 3 days and just shot from, I forgot what the amount was, but it went up to 40. It went up to crazy amount, over 100%. So it was like 20, 26, 25 or so. And that kind of stuff. Like, do I believe in GameStop long term? Personally, no. I don't believe in GameStop long term. But if you want to chase quick money, or at least temporary money, then go for GameStop. But yeah, I feel like JD's undervalued. I feel like BlackBerry is undervalued. I heard about BlackBerry for a really long time, and I think BlackBerry's undervalued. It's a good company. They're not just cell phones; they're in other things as well, and they're focusing more on, I think, cybersecurity. But yeah, it's like those companies you don't really hear much of, and the price is low because people don't really go on board with it. You don't really have, if you don't have that much buyers, then the price is going to be pretty low, right? I am invested in ETFs. I'm invested in ICLN, ARKK, and ARKW. But my Roth is, I'm trying to think. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Okay, my Roth is DIA, VOO, QQQ, SPY, and what am I trying? Wait, hold up. QQQ, QQQ, DIA, SPY, I think VOO or VTO, and then I'm forgetting one, but I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was. It's basically like 5 different ETFs. So I thought to myself, like, that would be a really good thing to have for a Roth, long term, because it's so spread out. The market, over time is going to go up, but I didn't want to like constantly check a Roth, so that's why I picked those stocks. So, but it's pretty good, that is doing well, especially because like when the pandemic hit, a lot of the stocks crashed, and yeah. So, yeah, it would so yeah, crypto is. I think crypto only seems scary if you're a new investor. If I invested in crypto back when, let's say, it was 7K or so, and now it's like 40K, and I see it swing down to 30K, I wouldn't I wouldn't feel scared, because I'd be like, well, I'm already up for my 7K investment. But if you come in there at when the price is 40K, and then you see it drop down to 30K, like, that's scary. That's really scary when you feel like you're at the top. Why so diversified? Because I didn't want to, let me put it this way. I didn't want to go invest all into one ETF, and I just thought, like, let me just spread the risk in. So I could like, instead of having five, I could instead have like one or two, but I just thought, like, it's not that big of a deal to me. Like, when it comes to that, I'd rather have over diversification, and then kind of have like overlap with a certain thing, rather than just focus it all on one or two. Because some of these ETFs, like, they gain like 30% a year, and then the other ones go up to like 50%. So, but can I guarantee the 50% ones hit 50% next year, or the 30% ones? Like, so I kind of hope that it would balance out. Yeah, Ethereum, I don't know. It's like, again, people invest in Tesla, I think, because they're the forefront, and that's why people invest in Bitcoin, because that's the forefront. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna go end this stream. I will talk to you guys later. And I don't want to keep repeating myself, but if you haven't invested, I highly recommend doing that. But you don't have to invest all in one time. Some people invest all in one time. I believe that if you want to mitigate that risk of, feeling like you're not hitting, you're not timing it right, invest every, once a year, or if you believe in a stock, like once every month or once every week, putting like a set amount of money into a stock. Like let's say you want to buy a stock and it's like, say, $20 a share, right? You can say, okay, every month I'm going to put $100 towards that stock, or I'm going to buy 5 shares and see how that is. So that way you average it out, rather than feeling like, oh, I put all my money into one stock and it just tanked, and it went down 5% since I put that one lump sum in. So it's up to you how you rather do it. I feel like if I had done that with certain stocks, then um, it it would have been good because I would have kept track of it. Tesla's like one of those stocks, like I literally just forgot about Tesla. I was so hyper focused on JD and Amazon that I didn't look at my Tesla stock, and I didn't keep track of the percentages, because it was like, I was like, oh, okay, Tesla's there. Oh, okay, it's like up 5%. I didn't really think about like the total gain. So here's me feeling like an idiot about that one. But if I had looked a little bit more closer at my stocks and seen, hey, Tesla's going up, it went up 20%. Okay, let me put in more money towards Tesla, and did it gradually like that. Then I would have been, my stock portfolio would have definitely been higher, and I would have probably divested myself from certain stocks because I would have chased Tesla instead. But it goes both ways. What if Tesla crashes, right? Tesla's a cult stock. If you have a big profit margin on a cult stock, you won't really mind. If you believe in the long-term strategy of a cult stock, you won't really mind. So for me, I believe highly in Apple. I don't think Apple's going to go away anytime soon, especially because they have the Apple Car allegedly coming out, or in production 2024. So for that, a lot can happen between now and then. And I think, because Apple has so much cash reserves, it's not like Apple's going to go bankrupt in the next 2 years or so. They have a lot of cash, and a lot of cash on hand. New products, people are going to buy it. Christmas season rolls around, birthday comes around. They got to buy a phone. What are they going to buy? They're going to buy an Apple. So, yeah. Apple's like definitely along. Definitely. So, but that falls under as a cult stock too. So, um, yeah, if you guys are a little apprehensive about this stuff, I would say write down on a piece of paper what stock you're interested in buying, and then check back every month. Like, say, okay, I wanted to spend $1,000 on Apple, right? Okay, the price of the stock is, let's say, $128 a share. Okay, so you say, okay, so I would, if I wanted to right now, I would put down by 28 times 6 7, let's say 7 shares or so. Yeah, 7 shares of Apple at 128 a share. What would the price be in like 2 months? And check back and say, if I invested in $1,000 at Apple at 128 a share, would I have made money or not? And then you can kind of see, most likely you wouldn't make money. If not, you could definitely dollar cost average it and say, okay, if I want to spend $1,000 on Apple the next 7 months, I could put in, buy one share, 128. If it drops down to 122, buy 122, another share. If it goes up to 133, buy 133. And yeah, that way you would feel a little bit more comfortable. So, yeah, all these ways to just invest into stocks, or you can just be like all in. So some people do all in. I went all in when it came to, no, actually I didn't go all in when it came to Amazon. I think I bought it in pieces. So yeah. So anyway, I will talk to you guys later. I gotta like drink some tea and lie down because my back is killing me. And you guys take care. I hope you have wonderful sleep like Oreo does. I feel like Oreo is a great background image. Like all the times that I do this stream, he just sleeps. Oreo. Oreo. Yeah, this cat. I'm gonna take this off. Look at this cat. This cat is in some deep sleep. Oh, I'm sorry for waking you up, Oreo. Yeah, he's been sleeping all day. The life of a real cat. The life of a retired security cat. Sleep 16 hours a day, it seems like. The only time he gets up is to eat and poop. And then go back to sleep. Mostly. He's not sick. He's just a low energy cat. He's Energy Star rated. See ya.